What happens when another Duggar family controversy collides with a major life chain, happening quietly behind the scenes? Fans were stunned after reports surfaced that Joseph and Kendra Duggar had listed their Arkansas home for nearly $408,000, and almost immediately, people online began questioning the timing. Because this isn't happening in a vacuum. As public scrutiny surrounding the Duggar family continues to grow, renewed attention has once again been drawn to disturbing allegations connected to the family's extended circle, specifically involving a father of four at the center of a developing molestation case that has sparked outrage across social media. Now, longtime followers of the Duggar family are asking the same question. Is this simply a normal real estate move, or could there be more happening behind the scenes than fans realize? For years, the Duggars built a public image centered around faith, family values, modest living, and traditional beliefs. Through reality television, they became one of the most recognizable conservative families in America. Millions of viewers watched their children grow up, get married, and start families of their own. But over time, scandal after scandal dramatically changed public perception of the once beloved reality TV empire. From legal troubles, to explosive interviews, to growing criticism from former fans, the Duggar name has increasingly become associated with controversy rather than the wholesome image viewers once saw on television. And while Joseph and Kendra have largely remained among the quieter members of the family, avoiding major media appearances and staying relatively private compared to some of the more outspoken Duggar siblings, their sudden decision to put their home on the market has now pulled them directly into the center of online speculation. Some fans believe this could simply be a family upgrading their living situation. Others think the timing feels far too coincidental. And across Reddit, YouTube, and social media, theories are already spreading fast. Introduction. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at why Joseph and Kendra Duggar's Arkansas home sale is suddenly getting so much attention online. We'll break down the details surrounding the property itself, examine how fans and critics are reacting to the listing, and explore why ongoing controversy connected to the Duggar family has reignited public scrutiny once again. We'll also discuss how the Duggar family's public image has dramatically changed over the years, why many Duggar family members have become increasingly private in recent years, financial speculation surrounding former reality television stars, how repeated scandals continue affecting the family's reputation, the growing divide between supporters and critics online, and whether this home sale could signal a major new chapter for Joseph and Kendra Duggar. Because in the Duggar world, even something as simple as selling a house quickly becomes part of a much larger conversation. And the deeper you look into the timing surrounding this situation, the more questions people seem to have. Stay tuned, because there's a lot to unpack here. When the Duggar family first appeared on television, they quickly became one of the most talked about families in America. Their rise to fame came during a period when reality television audiences were fascinated by unconventional lifestyles, large households, and deeply religious families. Through specials, and eventually the hit TLC series 19 Kids and Counting, viewers were introduced to a world that felt dramatically different from mainstream American culture. At the center of the family's public image was their strict conservative Christian lifestyle. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar promoted modesty, traditional gender roles, homeschooling, and strong religious discipline as the foundation of their family structure. To many supporters, they represented stability, morality, and old-fashioned family values in a rapidly changing society. Their routines, parenting methods, and highly organized household became a source of fascination for millions of viewers. What made the family especially compelling to television audiences was the sheer scale of their lifestyle. With 19 children living under one roof, everyday activities like grocery shopping, meal preparation, education, and travel became massive operations. Viewers tuned in not only out of curiosity, but because the family appeared remarkably calm and organized despite the chaos that naturally comes with raising so many children. Over time, the Duggars transformed from a niche television curiosity into full-fledged reality TV celebrities. As their popularity grew, the Duggar children themselves became recognizable public figures. Fans followed courtships, weddings, pregnancies, and major milestones as if they were watching an ongoing real-life drama unfold over many years. The family carefully cultivated an image centered around faith, discipline, and togetherness. For a long time, that image proved incredibly successful. But beneath the polished television presentation, criticism slowly began building online. Some viewers questioned the family's strict beliefs, particularly the limitations placed on women and the highly controlled environment in which the children were raised. Former fans and critics alike debated whether the Duggar lifestyle was truly healthy or whether the family's public image concealed deeper problems behind the scenes. Those concerns intensified dramatically when scandals involving the family became public. The revelations shocked longtime viewers and completely altered public perception of the Duggar brand. What had once been marketed as a symbol of wholesome family values suddenly became associated with secrecy, controversy, and intense scrutiny. Media coverage surrounding the scandals spread far beyond reality television gossip and became national news. The fallout ultimately led to the cancellation of 19 kids and counting, marking a major turning point for the family's public image. TLC attempted to continue the franchise through spin-off projects focused on some of the older Duggar daughters, but the original image of the family as untouchable role models had already been permanently damaged. In the years that followed, many Duggar family members appeared to gradually distance themselves from the spotlight. Some stepped back from television entirely, while others reduced their public appearances or became more selective about what they shared online. Fans noticed that certain siblings began carving out identities separate from the strict expectations viewers had associated with the Duggar name for years. Several Duggar siblings also became more outspoken and independent over time. Some publicly discussed personal struggles, harmful teachings from their upbringing, or the emotional pressure of growing up in such a highly controlled and heavily televised environment. These revelations added new layers to public understanding of the family and sparked broader conversations about religion, authority, and life inside reality television fame. At the same time, social media transformed the way the Duggar family stayed in the public eye. Even without a major television series dominating cable schedules anymore, platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Reddit ensured that every family update continued generating attention. A pregnancy announcement, a move, a court appearance, or even a subtle social media post could quickly become trending discussion topics online. Part of the reason Duggar-related stories continue attracting attention is because audiences remain deeply divided. Some longtime supporters still admire the family's values and lifestyle, while critics closely follow developments as examples of how public images can unravel over time. That tension keeps public curiosity alive even years after the family's original television dominance faded. Today, the Duggar family occupies a very different place in popular culture than they once did. At one point, they symbolized stability, structure, and traditional family life for millions of viewers. But years of controversy, legal issues, and public fallout have permanently changed that perception. Now, even relatively routine updates involving family members often trigger widespread speculation, debate, and viral online discussion. And that's exactly why news surrounding Kendra and Joseph Duggar's reported home listing has immediately drawn so much public attention. In today's media environment, virtually every major Duggar development becomes part of a much larger conversation surrounding the family's evolving legacy, ongoing controversies, and uncertain future in the public eye. While many members of the Duggar family have remained heavily involved in public interviews, social media discussions, or ongoing controversy, Joseph and Kendra Duggar gradually built a reputation for doing the exact opposite. Over the years, fans began viewing them as one of the quieter, more reserved couples connected to the family, rarely making headlines, rarely engaging publicly, and often seeming content to stay out of the spotlight altogether. When the two married in 2017, their relationship quickly became part of the Duggar media machine that surrounded shows like 19 Kids and Counting and later Counting On. Viewers watched their courtship unfold through the family's familiar structure of strict dating rules, chaperoned interactions, and faith-centered values. At the time, many fans described Joseph as soft-spoken and gentle compared to some of his more outspoken siblings, while Kendra quickly became known for her cheerful personality and calm demeanor on camera. As the years passed, the couple appeared to settle into a relatively traditional lifestyle focused almost entirely on family life. They welcomed children in quick succession and eventually became parents of 4, embracing the large family culture that had long defined the Duggar household. To longtime followers, Joseph and Kendra often seemed less interested in fame itself and more focused on building a quiet home life centered around parenting, church involvement, and conservative Christian values. Unlike several Duggar siblings who later developed strong online presences, podcasts, YouTube channels, or media platforms, Joseph and Kendra remained noticeably limited in their public appearances. Fans began noticing that updates involving the couple became increasingly rare. Their social media activity slowed dramatically, public interviews became uncommon, and they rarely addressed family controversies directly, even during periods when the Duggar family dominated entertainment headlines. That silence became especially noticeable as scandals surrounding the broader Duggar family intensified. While some relatives publicly defended family members, distanced themselves from past teachings, or openly discussed emotional struggles connected to their upbringing, Joseph and Kendra largely avoided making statements altogether. Because of that, many followers began seeing them as one of the least publicly involved couples connected to the family's controversies. For some supporters, that privacy earned respect. Many viewers felt the couple may have intentionally stepped away from public attention in order to protect their children and maintain a more stable home environment away from constant scrutiny. Others believed they simply preferred a quieter lifestyle and never truly enjoyed the pressures that came with reality television fame in the first place. At the same time, their silence also created curiosity. In today's social media culture, where audiences often expect constant updates from public figures, Joseph and Kendra's absence from the spotlight only fueled speculation about what their day-to-day lives might actually look like behind closed doors. Fans frequently analyze even small developments involving the couple, whether it's a rare public sighting, a family photo, a real estate move, or appearances at Duggar gatherings. Part of that curiosity stems from the unusual environment both were raised in. Growing up connected to reality television meant living much of life in front of cameras during formative years. Family milestones, courtships, weddings, pregnancies, and even personal struggles became public entertainment for millions of viewers. For some Duggar family members, that experience appears to have created a lasting, complicated relationship with fame and public exposure. In Joseph and Kendra's case, many viewers believe their retreat from public visibility may reflect a desire to reclaim privacy after years spent living under intense public attention. Unlike siblings who later wrote books, gave interviews, or publicly reevaluated their upbringing, Joseph and Kendra have mostly remained silent about their personal views, beliefs, or feelings regarding the controversies surrounding the family. And that silence has become one of the biggest reasons audiences remain fascinated by them. Because they rarely speak publicly, followers are left to interpret scattered details and brief appearances without much explanation. Some believe the couple remains deeply committed to the same traditional lifestyle they were raised in. Others wonder whether their decision to step back reflects something more complicated happening privately behind the scenes. But without interviews or direct statements, much of that remains speculation. What's clear is that Joseph and Kendra occupy a very different place within the Duggar family narrative than many of the more public-facing siblings. In an era where personal branding and constant online visibility have become normal for reality television figures, their decision to remain mostly private stands out even more. And for longtime followers of the Duggar family story, that mystery continues to keep public curiosity alive, even when the updates are small, infrequent, or seemingly ordinary. As attention surrounding the Duggar family continues to grow online, one of the biggest developments that recently caught fans off guard was the quiet listing of Joseph and Kendra Duggar's Arkansas home for an asking price reported to be around $408,000. While real estate transactions are usually ordinary milestones for growing families, this particular listing immediately became a major topic of discussion because of the timing, and because Duggar family moves rarely escape public scrutiny. For longtime followers of the family, the home itself looked surprisingly modern, spacious, and polished compared to what many viewers remembered from the family's earlier television years. Photos reportedly showed a large property with updated interiors, open living spaces, multiple bedrooms, expansive outdoor areas, and the kind of family-focused layout that made sense for a couple raising several young children. Fans especially focused on how much the property appeared to reflect a quieter, more independent lifestyle compared to the crowded and highly structured Duggar household viewers once saw on television. Many online commenters described the home as one of the more impressive Duggar-related properties to surface publicly in recent years. Some viewers admitted they were surprised by the value of the listing, especially given the family's image of modest living and conservative values. Others pointed out that Arkansas real estate prices can make larger homes appear more affordable compared to homes in larger metropolitan areas, though the property still represented a significant financial asset for a relatively young couple. The listing quickly sparked comparisons to homes owned or previously occupied by other members of the Duggar family. Over the years, fans have closely followed where different siblings lived after marriage, often analyzing everything from property size to renovation quality. Some viewers argued that Joseph and Kendra's home appeared more private and family-oriented than several other Duggar residences that had been featured publicly before. Others noted that the couple seemed to prioritize comfort and stability over flashy design choices, which aligned with their generally low-profile reputation. As photos and details spread across fan forums and social media discussions, speculation intensified almost immediately. One of the biggest questions people asked was simple: why move now? Because Joseph and Kendra rarely share major life updates publicly, the sudden appearance of the listing left room for endless theories. Some viewers suggested the move could be financially motivated, especially given the changing economic realities many larger families face today. Raising 4 children comes with increasing expenses, and some commenters wondered whether downsizing, relocating, or cashing in on property value might simply be a practical long-term decision. Others believed the situation could be tied to privacy concerns. In recent years, multiple members of the Duggar family have faced intense public attention, criticism, and controversy. As a result, some fans theorized that Joseph and Kendra may want greater separation from the family's public image altogether. A move to a quieter or less publicly visible property could offer more protection for their children and personal lives, especially after years of online speculation surrounding nearly every Duggar family development. Another major factor driving discussion was the timing itself. The home listing surfaced during a period when renewed conversations about past Duggar controversies were once again dominating online discussions. Because of that overlap, many viewers immediately connected the two events, even without direct evidence that they were related. That connection fueled even more theories across YouTube channels, Reddit discussions, and Duggar fan communities. Some people viewed the listing as a sign that Joseph and Kendra wanted distance from the broader Duggar spotlight. Others argued that the move was likely completely unrelated, and that online audiences were reading too deeply into a normal family real estate decision. Still, with the Duggar family, even routine events often become headline material. For years, the family built a public brand around stability, faith, and togetherness. But after multiple scandals and increasing public criticism, audiences now tend to examine every visible change through a much more skeptical lens. A home sale that might seem ordinary for another family suddenly becomes part of a larger conversation about image, finances, privacy, and internal family dynamics. In many ways, that reflects how dramatically the Duggar family's relationship with the public has changed over time. During the height of their television popularity, fans often celebrated milestones like marriages, pregnancies, and new homes as exciting life updates. Today, similar events are frequently analyzed for hidden meaning or possible connections to controversy. And for many followers, that may have been the biggest surprise surrounding this listing. It wasn't necessarily the fact that Joseph and Kendra were selling their home. Families move all the time. It was the timing. Because the Duggar family remains so heavily scrutinized online, even ordinary decisions can quickly evolve into major public speculation. Whether the move ultimately turns out to be financially motivated, privacy-driven, or simply a practical decision for a growing family, the reaction once again proved how closely audiences continue to watch every step connected to the Duggar name. One of the biggest reasons the Duggar family continues to face intense public scrutiny is because their name has become tied to controversy far beyond just one individual event. Over the years, scandals connected to members of the extended family have repeatedly reignited public debates about accountability, family loyalty, and the long-term consequences of living life in the spotlight. Even when certain relatives attempt to maintain quiet, private lifestyles, renewed allegations and legal discussions surrounding members of the broader Duggar circle often bring the entire family back into headlines once again. Recently, online conversations intensified after renewed attention surrounding legal allegations involving a father of four connected to the family's extended public narrative. Across social media platforms, discussion forums, and entertainment commentary channels, audiences quickly began revisiting older controversies tied to the Duggar brand. Many viewers argued that any new scandal immediately reopens public conversations about the family's history, their belief system, and the image they spent years building through reality television. For longtime followers of the family, this pattern has become increasingly familiar. Whenever controversy resurfaces, attention rarely remains focused on just the individuals directly involved. Instead, the broader Duggar name once again becomes part of larger cultural conversations about accountability, celebrity families, religious influence, and public image management. Critics argue that the family's carefully constructed reputation as a model Christian household was permanently damaged years ago and may never fully recover in the eyes of the public. At the same time, supporters of certain Duggar family members continue defending relatives who were not personally connected to the allegations or legal controversies. Some fans argue it is unfair to hold every sibling, spouse, or extended relative responsible for the actions of others within such a large family network. They point out that several Duggar children have intentionally stepped away from reality television, limited their public appearances, and focused on raising families privately in an effort to separate themselves from ongoing scandals. Still, the challenge of separating individual family members from the larger Duggar reputation remains incredibly difficult. For many viewers, the family operated for years as a single public brand rather than as separate individuals with independent identities. Because of that, audiences often continue associating every Duggar sibling with the same controversies, regardless of how involved or uninvolved they may actually be. This ongoing public scrutiny can create a serious emotional toll as well. Living under constant online discussion means every move, statement, or public appearance can become the subject of criticism or speculation within hours. Even relatively ordinary life decisions, such as moving homes, avoiding interviews, or stepping back from social media, often become interpreted through the lens of controversy. Fans analyze body language, posting patterns, and even silence itself, searching for clues about internal family dynamics or possible hidden tensions. Social media has only amplified these debates. Some users argue public figures who built careers through reality television should expect continued scrutiny, especially after years of monetizing family life in front of audiences. Others believe there should still be boundaries surrounding privacy, particularly for spouses and children who did not choose the same level of public exposure. This divide has created intense online arguments about where accountability ends and harassment begins. The pressure of constant public attention may also explain why several Duggar family members now avoid interviews entirely. In recent years, many relatives who once appeared regularly on television or social media have become noticeably quieter. Some observers believe this reflects a deliberate attempt to protect personal relationships and mental well-being from ongoing public commentary. Others suspect the family understands that nearly any public statement could quickly spiral into another wave of criticism or media speculation. One of the biggest struggles for reality TV families is that public opinion rarely separates individuals from the larger family brand. Even relatives who stay quiet often become connected to controversy simply because of their last name. For the Duggars, this reality has become increasingly difficult to escape. Years after their peak television success, the family still faces the complicated consequences of turning private life into public entertainment. Whether the Duggar name can ever fully move beyond its controversies remains a major question among both supporters and critics. Some believe time and distance from reality television may eventually allow certain family members to redefine themselves individually. Others argue the scandals surrounding the family became too culturally significant to ever truly separate from the Duggar legacy. Either way, the continued public fascination surrounding the family demonstrates just how deeply reality television can blur the line between entertainment, personal identity, and public judgment. As speculation surrounding Joseph and Kendra Duggar continues to grow, many longtime followers of the Duggar family are now asking the same question. What happens next for them after the Arkansas home sale? While neither Joseph nor Kendra has publicly explained their future plans in detail, the timing of the move has fueled widespread discussion across fan communities and social media platforms. Because the couple has remained far more private than several other Duggar siblings, the uncertainty surrounding their next chapter has only intensified public curiosity. One major question revolves around whether the family plans to remain in Arkansas at all. For years, the Duggar family's identity has been closely tied to Northwest Arkansas, where Jim, Bob, and Michelle built both their household and their media empire. Many of the Duggar children stayed nearby after marriage, creating a tight-knit network centered around family, church, and business connections. Joseph and Kendra have also remained deeply connected to that environment, raising their children close to relatives and familiar support systems. But with the home now listed and increased public attention returning to the family, some viewers believe the couple may consider relocating somewhere quieter in an effort to gain more privacy and distance from ongoing controversy. Others believe they may simply move to another property within Arkansas while maintaining the low-profile lifestyle they have largely adopted over the last several years. Compared to some Duggar siblings who actively post online, appear in interviews, or maintain public brands, Joseph and Kendra have intentionally stepped away from heavy public visibility. That decision has caused many fans to describe them as one of the more reserved couples in the extended Duggar family. Some supporters argue that remaining quiet has helped them avoid much of the criticism and media attention that has followed other relatives more intensely. At the same time, financial questions continue to follow nearly every Duggar-related discussion. During the height of 19 kids and counting, and later counting on, the family benefited enormously from reality television exposure. The shows created opportunities for sponsorships, speaking engagements, book deals, and various business ventures connected to the Duggar name. But after the cancellation of the original series and years of damaging public scandals, many viewers have wondered how sustainable life, after reality television truly, is for the younger couples raising growing families. For Joseph and Kendra specifically, audiences often speculate about how they manage the financial realities of raising 4 children while maintaining a more private lifestyle. Unlike some influencers who monetize social media heavily, they have largely avoided building a major online presence. That has led to constant fan theories about employment, real estate investments, family business involvement, and long-term financial planning behind the scenes. While none of those details are fully public, the sale of a home worth roughly $408,000 naturally intensified discussions about money, stability, and future planning. Another lingering question is whether any members of the Duggar family could eventually return to television or larger public media projects. Reality television has a long history of attempting comeback stories, especially involving controversial families who continue generating headlines years after their peak popularity. Some viewers believe networks would still see strong audience interest in updates involving the Duggar children, particularly those now creating lives separate from Jim Bob and Michelle's original household structure. However, others argue that the Duggar brand has become too closely tied to controversy for any large-scale return to succeed comfortably in mainstream media. Years of scandals dramatically changed how audiences view the family. What was once marketed as a wholesome example of faith-centered living slowly transformed into a story many people now associate with secrecy, control, and public fallout. Because of that shift, any future media project involving the family would almost certainly face immediate scrutiny and criticism from both viewers and journalists. Interestingly, younger Duggar couples appear to be approaching fame very differently than earlier generations of the family did. Several siblings have embraced greater privacy, limited public appearances, and more control over what parts of their lives are shared online. Some former viewers believe the younger couples learned firsthand how damaging intense public exposure can become over time. Growing up on television may have provided financial opportunities and public recognition, but it also brought lifelong scrutiny, invasive media coverage, and pressure that continues years later. That may ultimately explain why audiences remain fascinated with the Duggar family even after so much controversy and public backlash. The family's story represents something larger than reality television alone. To many viewers, the Duggars symbolize both the rapid rise and dramatic collapse of one of television's most controversial family brands. Millions of people watched them build an image centered around morality, faith, discipline, and family unity, only to later witness that image unravel under repeated scandals and growing criticism. And perhaps that is why public interest never fully disappears. Viewers are not only following real estate listings, marriages, or family updates anymore. They are watching the long-term consequences of living under a reality television spotlight for nearly 2 decades. Every move, every public appearance, and every period of silence becomes part of a much larger conversation about fame, privacy, family pressure, and the lasting emotional cost of turning personal lives into public entertainment. For Joseph and Kendra, the next chapter may ultimately involve something very simple: stepping further away from the spotlight in search of normalcy. But because the Duggar name remains so recognizable, even the quietest decisions continue attracting enormous attention. Years after the family first became household names, audiences remain deeply invested in what happens next, not just because of scandal, but because the Duggar story has become one of reality television's most complicated cautionary tales. As Joseph and Kendra Duggar move forward with listing their Arkansas home, fans continue searching for answers about what may really be happening behind the scenes. Whether this sale is simply a fresh start for their growing family or part of a much larger shift connected to ongoing controversy, one thing is clear: the Duggar family remains under intense public scrutiny even years after stepping away from mainstream television. For longtime followers, stories like this highlight how deeply reality television fame can affect a family long after the cameras stop rolling. The Duggar family once represented one of television's most recognizable images of traditional family life, but years of controversy, media attention, and changing public opinion have dramatically reshaped that legacy. Now, even relatively private family members like Joseph and Kendra find themselves pulled back into public discussion whenever major life updates emerge online. At the same time, many viewers believe the younger Duggar couples may be trying to build a different kind of future, one that places more distance between their personal lives and public attention. Unlike earlier years, when nearly every milestone was documented on television or social media, several members of the family now appear far more cautious about sharing details publicly. That shift has fueled even more speculation among fans who continue trying to piece together what life inside the Duggar family really looks like today. Questions also remain about what comes next financially and professionally for the family. Without the visibility and income that once came from reality television, many followers wonder how different Duggar couples are adapting behind the scenes. Real estate moves, business ventures, and increasingly private lifestyles have all become major points of discussion across fan communities online. Still, despite everything that has happened over the years, public fascination with the Duggar family has never completely disappeared. New headlines, controversies, and life updates continue generating major reactions across social media and entertainment news platforms. For supporters, critics, and longtime viewers alike, the family's story remains one people continue to follow closely, especially as a new generation begins carving out its own path away from the height of the family's television fame. Whether Joseph and Kendra's move ultimately turns out to be a routine family decision or part of a larger transition, audiences will likely continue watching for any signs about where the Duggar family goes from here. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.